5 week of the government's demonetisation move, and the situation has not yet changed on ground. In fact, and as a domino effect, several people are being laid off in these industries.
After demonetisation, we have retained some workers because those workers we cannot pay by a check. They were a casual workers.
आपको ये डर है कि शायद अगर ऐसे ही कंटिन्यू होगा कि आपका जॉब भी जाएगा?
शायद हो सकता है
जाएगा ना, ऐसा होगा तो ऐसा ही काम रहेगा तो ऐसे ही जॉब जाएगा.
Retrenching means you have to close down the business. Means if there is no work here in my factory, what I will do with the people?
The business is reduced. I am not able to pay to my staff also.
अभी काम वाले भी अभी कोई छोकरा लोग नहीं है, हम लोग ही खड़ा है, उसको पेमेंट भी देना है, मुश्किल है, बिजनेस बहुत डल है. पहले 5 मेंबर्स थे, अभी 3 हो गए. सैलरी की प्रॉब्लम से 2 लोग काम छोड़ दिए.
35 days since the big announcement of demonetisation came in from our government viewers, and we're no longer talking about standing in line. Tonight, we bring you a story that is much, much more worrying. Job loss, and job loss at a massive scale. Mass retrenchment happening in our country, hitting especially unskilled labour. Estimates of 35% of labour have lost their jobs in the last 1 month. And let me make this very clear, it is not a question of only Mumbai or Bangalore or Delhi. It's happening across the country. And when our medium scales or small scale industries began to retrench, our economy will slow down, and it will affect each and every one of us, especially those of us who are salaried, who pay our taxes, and who up until now thought that demonetisation will not have a direct impact on you. Our government promised a short-term pain for long-term gain. That short-term pain now seems like it was grossly underestimated. The central government needs to take steps, and needs to do so very, very quickly. To bring out to you and to show you how bad the case is on the ground right now, I have the people who know the numbers. Sandeep Parekh is the Vice President of Kasia Chamber of Small Industries Association, an all-India body. R.R. Chaturvedi is the Chairman and Managing Director of Shripati Group. He's the advisor to NEDCO. He's a developer who brings in what's happening on the construction sites. K.E. Raghunathan is the National President of the All India Manufacturers Organization. Ritu Prana Chakrabarti is the co-founder and the Executive Vice President of Team Lease Services. This is the company that put out the report that said we're likely to lose 4 lakh jobs. Nikunj Turakia is the General Secretary of the Chamber of Associations of Maharashtra, Industry and Trade. Joining me also on the show, Gopal Krishna Agarwal, representing the BJP, Clyde Crasto, representing the NCP. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the show. I will start with Ritu Prana. Ritu, you put out that report that said 4 lakh jobs. That report came out nearly a month ago. Have your estimates changed since then? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Where do you think we stand right now?
Okay, I think to begin with, I think the estimate that we had shared in public domain talks about potential job loss or other reduction of demand from now till about March to the extent of 5 to 7% in comparison to what was happening same time last year. We did not, it's very difficult to quantify that number at this point of time. I think we do not have enough information. But yes, it's inevitable that because of this move in the short run, there would be impact in terms of hiring as well as some of the current jobs, especially in the informal sector. I think the ability of the formal sector to rebound is far greater at this point of time, but the impact on the informal sector is going to be there for a longer duration. That's what we're looking at.
Let's get in those voices from the informal sector. I will start with Sandeep Parekh. Sandeep Parekh, you represent small-scale industry. Tell us right now how bad the scene is on the ground, and what are the problems being faced by employers of labour?
See, the immediate impact after the 8th November is that the casual labourers and the daily wage labourers immediately lost their job from the very second day. And the economy shows slowing down. The sales are coming down from 30 to 40%, especially in the consumer good industries related. And all the small scale industries are basically ancillary industries to large industries. So in a chain reaction, they all get affected. So
just to make this clear to our audience, what you're saying is that the orders from the larger industries have come down. And because the orders have come down and because it's difficult to pay this labor in check and they don't have bank accounts, you've technically had to retrench a lot of those, like we were watching at the beginning of the show, a lot of those factories have had to let go of people.
Yeah, so the process has started. It's only been a month. The process has started, but after 30th of December, if enough cash is not available in the system, then it is going to be catastrophic. And ultimately, that is the time where even the industry will start revolting.
Okay, when you say catastrophic, what do you mean? You mean factories are going to have to shut down? What do you mean by catastrophic?
Yes, I think today they are talking about, the MSMEs are employing about 6 crore people. And just now already 25% they say are without the jobs. So now when this availability of cash is not there, there is a liquidity crisis. People, the large industries are even stopped paying to the small industries. So with that, if you can't...
So you are saying, if you say 25% of 6 crore people, you're talking about over 1 crore people have lost their jobs in this sector in the last 1 month.
Yes, because the 70, out of the 93% MSME, 78% are the micro industries.
Right.
Which are having basically they are unorganized sector. So the unorganized sector, every payment is done by cash, whether it's sale, purchase, or even payment to the workers. Now, unorganized sector cannot be immediately converted to organized sector. It takes a lot of time. But by that time, things should not see in an micro sector.
I want to bring in K.E. Raghunathan. K.E. Raghunathan is with the All India Manufacturers Organization. And Clyde, I'll come to you once everyone has made their cases. This is a report that came out from the All India Manufacturers Organization. It says that for micro, medium, large scale, anywhere between 30 and 35% of job loss as of now. This will go up to 60% before March. 60% is a shocking number. Mr. Raghunathan, do you believe that it's going to be that bad? Tell us how these numbers were arrived at and how desperate the situation is right now.
See, fire, nobody would say anything against the intention of the government or Mr. Modi. I can take a simple analogy which I read. There was a pond in a small city which was used for the drinking water by the people. The pond had some crocodiles entered into it, and some good people wanted to clean up the pond. They started flushing out the water. In the process, some of the crocodiles, which can also live in the land, had escaped. It is the poor fishes which were cleaning the water and making it more drinkable died. The industries are dying. It is a wake-up call. It is 34 days now. All India Manufacturers Organization formed an expert committee across the country, went about collecting various data of what is in reality. We identified 4 types of industries. One is the micro and small scale industries in service sectors providing activities. Medium and large scale industries engaged in manufacturing activities. Medium and large scale industries engaged in project and infrastructure activities. Medium and large scale industries engaged in export activities. We divided into the 4 segments. The worst hit as on date is the micro and small scale industries. As you rightly said, we are projecting about 35% job cut as of now, and about 60% is expected before March. Where does this number come from? Take, for example, a company, a small scale setup which is providing AMC for air conditioners. There are about 10 people working in the company who goes out every day to every houses or offices and clean up the air conditioners. If 10 guys go out from a company in a day, conveyance and food allowance and petty purchases itself will come to about 500 per person, 5,000 per person. 7 days, 35,000 per person.
You know, let me
the small scale industry can draw it from
Mr. Raghunathan, let me open up this debate. I want to open up this debate and bring in at this point Gopal Krishna Agarwal to respond to that one point that was very, very articulately put. Industry, Mr. Agarwal, is dying. I'm quoting what was said on the show just now. Industry is dying. This is a wake-up call. The government needs to do something. The government needs to act. What is the government doing to save what from now, from the conversation we've had so far in the last 10 minutes, we've established that over 1 crore people have lost their jobs. What is the government doing, Mr. Agarwal?
The thing is that I agree that there was a demand crunch in the current 135 days or so, and that's because of the liquidity crunch. But what the PM has said and the government is saying that what is happening is that this liquidity will be again pushed after 30th December into the system.
How?
We had a 12% of currency of GDP that was floating, and that whole currency was not in the economy, and there were a lot of currency which was lying idle or was in the form of black money. The government intention was to eliminate that particular
but how?
segment
Let's
from
focus.
the circulation.
Tell us how. Yeah,
I have a very simple question.
Go ahead, Clyde.
I have a simple question. We are all talking about maths and arithmetic here.
No, let me finish, then you can have a question.
No, you were not answering our question. You didn't tell us how you're going to solve the problem on the 31st December.
I want to ask a question to the government, and I want to ask a question to all the experts sitting here.
One thing is
what can be done in the next 15 days that has not been done in the last 35 days? We are talking about 50 days, everything will be normal. We've got 15 days to go to the 50-day deadline. What can be done in 15 days that they've not been able to do in the last 35 days? I mean, look at the. I want to just carry on from what Mr. Parikh said. Was the unorganized sector? I want to
let me finish. Here. Then you can say, na. Let me finish.
No, we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. Finish what you're saying, Clyde, and then we'll come back.
I just want to finish this. If you allow me to finish this, I want to give a very, very small example of the textile industry. 31.9 million people have not got their wages yet. I mean, 86% of the people that are employed, okay. Out of which, I would say, let's look at it this way. All the employed people, 86% of them are the unorganized sector, and they contribute to almost 45 to 50% to the GDP. Now, I'll give an example in Bhiwandi. I was reading this. There's this textile industry there.
It's completely shut down.
Okay, yes. It's completely shut down. Now, there is a very, very, very fine point to this which you have to pay attention. Everybody needs to pay attention. The owner had to, do away with all his workers because he had no money to give them. Now, the workers have left and gone. Now, between the two, there's a small man who is stuck and his livelihood has been stuck. There's a man who supplies tiffin to these workers. He supplies everyday meals to these workers. Now, he has no customers. Whoever is there, they want it on credit. Now, what he's saying, if I give them on credit, I don't have money to buy supplies for the next day. So people like this are suffering. It's
well, the person who represents that, Nikunj Turakia represents the Association of Industry and Trade. Nikunj, how bad is it for trade right now? We've talked about small industry. How bad is it for trade right now? Nikunj?
Let me finish. You asked me a question. You are not letting me speak.
Okay, go on. Mr. Agarwal, finish what you were saying, and then Nikunj will tell us how bad it is for trade.
I have not finished my answer.
Go ahead, Mr. Agarwal. Finish your answer. Finish your answer.
The question is, everybody is trying to prove that part of his argument which we are agreeing. We are agreeing, as a government is agreeing, that there is a demand crunch, liquidity crunch, which has created some demand relaxation in the system, and that is creating problems to the unorganized sector. That part we are agreeing, but what we are saying that we will push back the liquidity, and once that liquidity is pushed back into system after 30th December,
all those people who lost their wages,
will again
people who don't have money to buy the 2 square meals.
Let him finish.
Yeah, I am agree. Let me finish. You are just. This is not the. If you want to do an economic debate, let me finish it. The second thing is that what the government is trying to move towards is the banking transaction digital economy, where transactions take place through the banking system. We are not saying that the economy doesn't need transaction. Economy needs transaction. We are creating awareness, educating people, and creating ecosystem infrastructure of the banking system through mobile and other things, so that we can move towards a digital economy which is more transparent, which is more tax compliant, That's what the government is trying to...
Mr. Gopal Agarwal, one second. There are people on this panel who haven't spoken yet. One second. There are people on this panel who haven't spoken yet. I want to come to those people. But first, I want to make this point. First of all, how will the liquidity come back into the system in the next so many days? And if the liquidity comes back, according to what you're saying, through cashless transaction, will it bring back the jobs of unskilled labor? Which is the point that we're making at this point. Teaching people cashless transaction, will it bring back the jobs that we're talking about? Nikunj Turakia.
I think, the trade is tremendously affected as on today. The trade has come to a standstill. It is known to everybody. And trade and industry are all interlinked. Trade is the facilitator of business. And if industry is affected, and especially when micro and medium industries are affected, then, trade is definitely affected very, very badly. The figures which we are talking about, 30-40%, it is anybody's guess because there is no conclusive data which is available because it is too short a time to really gauge the real effect on the economy. The way forward...
But Nikunj, tell me this, of the people who have lost their jobs, what is the average salary that we're talking about of these people? How much do they make per month?
That is, I mean, when we are talking about, the unorganized sector, where the workers are recruited on day-to-day basis, and they have been most affected, maybe, I don't know whether they were being paid minimum wages or no, but most likelihood that they were not being paid minimum wages, and that is how the Indian economy has been working. That is how the industry has been working, unfortunately, whether we like it, we don't like it. And these workers, unfortunately, maybe do not have an Aadhaar card.
Can I add something here?
Yes, please. Yeah, Nikunj was just making the point that informal workers
Can I ask one question?
One second. Let Nikunj finish his point.
Ask one question.
1 second, sir. Let Nikunj finish his point. Nikunj, you were saying that they don't have Aadhaar cards.
These workers, they are not able to open the bank accounts, and in fact, we can see reverse migration happening. Today, the workers are going back to their villages because they do not see any hope. This is a very unfortunate situation I am seeing, and definitely the government will have to do something so that it comes back to its normalcy.
All right. I also want to bring in Mr. R.R. Chaturvedi, who hasn't spoken up till now, who represents the real estate sector.
Can I ask one small question?
Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Agarwal, one second. I will come to you. You'll have to respond to all of this. Mr. Agarwal, 1 second. Mr. Chaturvedi, how bad is it for the real estate industry? Are you able to pay your labor? Are you able to pay your labor? R.R. Chaturvedi.
After 8th demonetization, when PM had announced, the construction industry practically was shut. On the contrary, our developers, builders, contractors, they organized langars for the labor for 2-3 days, 4 days, because they were not able to use the 500 rupees and 1000 rupees note immediately in the market. All the builders, developers, they organized langars in the sites, and they provided meals to the laborers for about 2-3 days, 4 days, till the note had come in the circulation.
And
after that, since the developer, builder also started feeling the crunch because the sales had dropped, and when the sales drop, the developer builder model is basically on the sale model. They are not a capital based model.
Yes.
We are based on the sale model.
Yes.
When the sales drop, we have a liquidity problem, and when you have a liquidity problem, you try to retrench people and slow down the work.
Are you able to open, Mr. Chaturvedi, bank accounts for your labor in order to give them, like Gopal Krishna Agarwal is telling us, cashless salaries? Can you give them cashless salaries, even if they were working on your side?
I'll be very simple with you, because all the workers, unskilled workers, they are from Bihar, UP, MP, Hyderabad, West Bengal, and those people, they come from villages basically, and they don't have their basically bank account nor in the village nor in the city. So it is very difficult to pay them by check or go teach them. It is a cashless economy. Government has to think something serious about it. Either they should be permitted to be paid in cash.
Can I come just a second?
They should be permitted to pay in cash,
right,
100%, because you cannot stop a daily wage worker because he is earning on the average per month 15,000, 20,000 rupees. You cannot expect a 15,000 worker to go in a bank, open a bank account.
And where is the money in the banks?
Bank.
Where is the money in the banks? Gopal Krishna Agarwal, please respond. Where is the money in the banks and how will this problem be solved through cashless transactions?
Two things I want to just mention is that whether all the panelists, do they agree that the liquidity in the system was driving economy or the black money was driving the economy? If they say that the liquidity was driving the economy, then I am saying by after 30, yeah.
Otherwise, the liquidity was driving. Let us not,
yes, let us not
say
the liquidity will be back in the system.
Because the liquidity printed in the country, the currency printed in the country cannot have a color. It is only a one color, it is printed in the country. So let us not say a black money or white money in the liquidity currency form. All the currency printed by RBI government has to be a Indian currency. You can always say whether you are taxpayer money or not taxpayer money.
Let me finish. You are not letting me finish.
You asked a question, Mr. Agarwal. He responded to your question. He responded to your question.
No, but wait now. Let me finish the question, Pure. I am said one part of the question. No, just wait. Let me finish, then you can talk.
Let us be practical.
I have got the answer.
बोलिए ना, Mr. Agarwal, बोलिए.
Okay, I agree. Let me come to the second part of it. If the liquidity was driving the economy, after 30th December, the liquidity will be back into the system.
To stand on one side and keep
there was over liquidity in the system. We had more than
after 30th December.
I tell you, we don't want us to end up in a situation of the famous quote, "Operation was successful, patient died." We don't want to end up in a situation, operation was successful.
It is better that each person speaks
What are we doing all this for?
Let him finish, then you can...
livelihood of the people at large.
I would like one second, gentlemen, just one second. We're all talking over each other. Mr. Raghunathan, one second. Mr. Raghunathan, if you can hear me, 1 second.
Go into the market.
1 second, Mr. Raghunathan. Let's go one by one here. Now,
I have not finished. I have just said...
Mr. Agarwal, if I'm not mistaken, you have said that on the 1st of January, liquidity will be returned to the market, which you've said now twice on the show. You said liquidity will be returned to the market on the 1st of January. Please explain to us all how. How will liquidity be returned to the market?
To understand that simple thing. If all of us want to know
let him answer.
About 12.4. Let me answer it. You ask other people to just keep their... the RBI has given today that around 12.44 lakh currency has come to the banking system. Out of them, RBI has released 4.61 lakh crore. And there was 12% of GDP in the currency, cash currency, which was in excess in the international scenario. So government want to reduce that liquidity to around 9% of the GDP. So therefore, that means the government will be releasing around 10 lakh crores in the system. That will be in the banking system. Liquidity can come only. Liquidity doesn't come only through cash transactions.
Will that money be released in notes? Have the notes been printed? No, sir. Will that money be released in notes? Have the notes been printed?
Everybody will be free to withdraw his. Yes.
Agarwal ji, I tell you, internationally,
in the bank.
Any country.
It is only.
One second. I want to bring in Rituparna.
Agarwal ji, any country in the world, if they have to come out from recession, they keep on printing notes. This is the only country where we are going back to recession.
Right. Let me bring in Rituparna Chakrabarti. Rituparna Chakrabarti, do you buy the justification? Rituparna Chakrabarti, do you buy the justification?
We are suffering for over liquidity.
1 second, Mr. Agarwal. 1 second. Rituparna Chakrabarti, go ahead.
I'm going to bring in a very fresh. I'm going to bring in a fresh perspective here, and that is that. Yes, demonetization has its own challenges in terms of execution. But I do not think industry cannot absolve their own responsibility of having looked into the aspect of financial inclusion of the large number of informal workers that exist. It is a fascinating fact that India is probably the only country which is working with only 6% formal employment and 94% in formal employment.
Ms. Chakrabarti, while that might be fair, is it fair then to punish the labor? Is it fair then to punish the labor because industry might have shirked its responsibility
I
of
don't
financial
think,
inclusion?
yes, you're right. It's not fair to, you're right.
No, but
exactly, it is. I think that's why my problem here is that to blame the government alone on this situation.
There is another angle which I would like to speak.
Yes, Mr. Shah.
That the cashless economy, nobody is objecting to that.
What we need to focus on is
the industries are not objecting to cashless economy for in future, but the whole unorganized sector, which is 74%. If you try to convert them into organized sector, your cost of labor is going to increase by 30 to 40%. Because everybody will come in the minimum wage, the provident fund, the ESIC, double overtime. Now that suddenly, if such things happen, it is not going to be easily absorbed by the industry. The retrenchments will further increase because they will not be able to afford these workers. And ultimately, it will be a blow to a large industry, where all the ancillary industries will be in trouble.
We were talking about the workers and the benefits of the workers here.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Global Wealth Report says that 1% of our population.
Yes.
The Global Wealth Report says 1% of our population is holding more than 58% of the wealth. So you are not talking of the concentration of wealth. If the economy has to be inclusive,
Mr. Agarwal, you will not solve that problem by causing 1 crore people who make less than 20,000 rupees a month to lose their jobs. Let me just, okay, hang on, gentlemen, just 1 second. 1 second. Everybody, 1 second. Clyde, 1 second. I want to refocus this conversation on the fact that we have to here collectively agree that there are over 1 crore people who make less than 20,000 rupees a month, who are more than 10 crore,
yes.
who have lost their jobs. They have lost their jobs. They do not have, and these are people who live hand to mouth, they do not have the ability right now to feed their children. They do not have the ability to pay rent on wherever they are living. They are having to pack their bags and move back to the villages that they came from. This is a crisis situation. It is not a situation for us to sit around and throw mathematics at each other. We need a real solution. I want to bring in Sudhir Menon is on the phone line from Bangalore. Sudhir Menon, very quickly, go ahead. Say what you have to say.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening to you, and thank you for calling me. I would like to say, first of all, that we have been seeing that ATMs throughout India, most of them do not have the cash, and those who actually dole out the cash it's mostly 2,000 rupees. Now, I have to say that this 2,000 rupees is not accepted in most of the places for shopping, etc., because they have changed.
Yes.
Now, as a student of economics, I can say that the fundamental definition of money is anything that is generally accepted in settlement of goods and services or in payment of debts.
So you're saying 2,000 rupees is not money right now?
It is not generally accepted. Anything which is not generally accepted is not money. And therefore, this 2,000 rupees today cannot be classified as money in most of parts of India and most of the locations. Having said that, I would also like to make a suggestion in terms of people who ask for money for defraying medical expenses. They come and ask for 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 at banks, and then it leads to a cash crunch for other people. I have a suggestion that through the auspices of your channel, I want to mention that if this can be done in a manner where the bank gives a certified guarantee letter saying that they will defray the expenses of the medical
it is ridiculous that these are solutions we have to think about money that's coming out of our own accounts that we don't have access to.
I have a question on that point, Faye.
Yes.
My should talk on e-wallet. There are e-wallets where you can...
Let's not... Listen,
Agarwalji, I'll tell you one thing simple. If I don't have any money in my bank because of my losing my job, what my credit card and what my card you are going to work upon?
No, and the thing is here, the point here is, Everything is so precise and pinpoint on paper, but there's no practicality. I want to take a point from where Ms. Ritu had said was, 94% being informal sector. My point here is that when you think of a reform of this magnitude, when you plan something of this magnitude where you want to flush out black money, don't you put everything into perspective? Don't you think of the informal sector? Don't you think of the daily wage workers? Don't you think of the real estate? Don't you think of agriculture? I mean, who are these minds that have been working here? Didn't they think? Didn't they have anything on plan? Why do we have to come with suggestions when such economists who are working in industry, the finance minister, the prime minister, you are at the helm of affairs. If you cannot think, why are you asking the common man to think now? Why do we have to give solutions 35 days into disaster? And what can be done in the next 15 days? I don't see anything happening in the next 15 days. Why do common men have to suffer when all these people should have taken into consideration?
Okay, so I have a question for Gopal Agarwal, and I know that the entire panel, yes, I'll come to you, Nikunj. Gopal Agarwal, a very simple question for you. You said that after the 30th of December, liquidity will be restored in the market. Can we take it for granted then that after the 30th of December, withdrawal limits will be removed and we will be able to withdraw? And when I say able, I mean the bank will be able to dispense that cash. We will be able to withdraw as much as we want or need from our bank accounts. Is that a given? Is that something we can take for granted? Gopal Krishna Agarwal.
Yeah, definitely the government intention is to create liquidity into the system, but create less liquidity, move towards lesser percentage
yes
of
or no
cash
answer,
economy.
Mr. Agarwal. Will there be enough cash printed?
It will not be made compulsorily.
Will there be enough cash printed in my bank account for me to withdraw my whole salary if I might choose to withdraw my whole salary? Is my question to you. I might want to remove my entire salary from the bank in cash. But will that be available to me?
Definitely, nobody can stop you from your property.
Mr. Agarwal,
in our economy,
I have a statistic which says 16.5 billion notes have to be printed.
No, wait.
Mr. Agarwal, 16.5 billion notes have to be printed. We have only 4 minutes that collectively can print only 3 billion notes every month. It is going to take another 3 months.
6 months.
No, they've started 3 months ago is what has been told to us. So it takes another 3 months. Not before March can you print these notes. 16.5 billion notes. Even if you divide the 500 rupee notes and 2000 rupee notes, you have to create 16.5 billion notes. These are the statistics that I've got. You can give us a better statistics. I will agree with you.
The government has already started
now, but what about people?
The government has already started distributing
to bring all that money.
Let him answer. Clyde, let him answer. Let him answer.
You see the data, the amount. You see the data. The number of transactions have increased manifold on e-wallet, on UPI, on Paytm,
Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Chaturvedi just told you that if these people have money in their account, only then can they transfer the money. How can they transfer the money from an empty account?
That is not by the people who lost the job.
Sir, I'm coming back to the people who... Yeah, Nikunj. This sort of... No, 1 second, Mr. Agarwal, I give you a chance to answer. Nikunj, this sort of e-wallet, Paytm, transactions, UPI, if all of this happens and increases, it will not increase exponentially overnight, it will increase over a period of time. Will that bring back the jobs? Have those crores of people who lost their jobs, will they get their jobs back, Nikunj?
Not at all, I'm little confused here, because this is the first time I am listening here that 10 lakh crores would be put into the system. Now, what was the original objective of demonetization?
1 second, Mr. Agarwal, let Nikunj ask his question. Mr. Agarwal, we heard you out.
Whether it was, to eradicate black money, whether it was to eradicate corruption, or whether it was digitization, or whether it was cashless economy, because we are going nowhere here. I mean, the result seems to be, catastrophic to me as of now, unless the government brings a lot of other measures in order to turn the tide. Today, if you see the practicality of it, if a person is getting 10,000 rupees and he is getting 2,000 rupees 5 notes, can he go and change that? He probably will not be able to use those 2,000 rupees notes because there is not enough of lower denomination notes in the system. Because if
actually,
we
that's
see
a bigger problem then, Nikunj. If he's not going to get his 10,000 rupees at all because he lost his job, then this entire conversation is completely moot.
I mean, 14.6 lakh crore is higher denomination notes which have been sucked out of the system. You have hardly about 2 lakh crores which is the lower denomination notes in the system. Now you are up till now you have put in 5 lakh crores. You are going to put in another 5 lakh crores by 30th. Let us assume that is done. But then what happens? If you are putting more higher denomination notes, then it leads to more hoarding. It will lead to again corruption. It will lead, we are back to the square one. Absolutely. If we want actually the economy to work without corruption, then we will have to have higher ratio of smaller denomination notes. And to print that, as I am told, it will take minimum 7-8 months to put that kind of money into the system.
All right, I have 1 second. I have Chavadi from Lonavala on the phone line.
One second,
yes, okay.
Let me complete. Now we are talking about cashless economy. We are talking somebody who is getting 10,000 rupees to do e-wallet or Paytm. Now, they in the villages, they do not have even any connectivity. How are they
don't have electricity to charge their phones.
I mean, what are we talking about? I fail to understand the whole logic. Of course, I again say that it is a very, very bold decision. Something definitely we are missing the point, whatever the government is thinking about, and I'm sure they will come out with some steps in order to turn the tide. I mean, today the economy is going down, but definitely I'm sure the government will come out with some
what you're saying, Nikunj, is that today the economy is definitely going down unless the government takes some serious steps.
Absolutely.
Unless the government. Okay, Lazarus Chavdi is on the phone line from Lonavala.
And that unless is quite hypothetical. I am saying that government will take steps. Government is ready. Demonetization is not an isolation. You should see the fight against black money through SIT and every other steps, and there will be further GST and other things.
No.
And government will
steps to restore jobs.
A different matter altogether.
There will be
different matter.
No steps to revive the economy. All the steps are being taken
and liquidity is transaction. Liquidity is not cash transaction.
All the steps are being taken to that part of it. There are not a single step to revive the economy. Understand very clearly.
In fact,
not a single step has been taken to revive the economy. Today we are talking of numbers which is about 7%.
In the system.
You are saying 7% would be the GDP. No,
banking
7% growth will not be there. And as per our part of it, where industry as a developer or as a builder, infrastructure is connected, all the industry is connected to building industry. Understand very clearly. All the industries are connected to building industry. If the building industry collapses, the entire economy will collapse. Today you are talking for 7%. I would say it would be difficult to achieve even 5% of the growth what you are expecting today for the coming year.
In fact, I would like to come back on the matter.
Understand one thing very clearly.
On the issue of GST,
one second. I'll come back to you. I want to listen to this one voice that has called in, and on this show we always make available the opportunity for viewers to call us. And Lazarus Chavdi has called us from Lonavala. I believe he works in a bank. Go ahead. You're on the show.
I would just like to mention it to BJP spokesperson who just said that we can withdraw from the bank whatever we want. I had given a bearer's check to my worker and he was not paid the complete amount. The bank refused to pay her because she doesn't have an account. So I had given her bearer's check and she was refused to give that account. So how can BJP spokesperson said that whatever we want to go and withdraw, we can withdraw. Sometimes they are not even able to get the minimum amount that they want. And families going hungry.
Sir, you have to give an authorization letter till 30th December.
No.
They already gave her some money.
You have to give an authorization letter.
Bearer checks don't need authorization letters, Mr. Agarwal.
Doesn't need authorization letter.
No, the bank did give her money, but not the full amount.
Because the bank has no
bearer
cash.
check. If you are giving a bearer check and asking somebody third-party withdrawal.
For 50,000.
Are you changing the rules of banking?
My bank account.
Can I come in?
Even today.
One second. We haven't heard from Mr. Parekh. This is my problem. If you're telling us that bearers' checks have to go with authorization letters and you're changing the rules of banking, Mr. Agarwal, you should put out a circular to let us know that.
Till 30th December. Only till 30th December, ma'am.
So if I send someone out with a bearer's check, I should. So you give me a guarantee, Mr. Agarwal, and I never forget on this show, you give me a guarantee that after the 31st of December, we will be able to withdraw and the government will remove all limits of withdrawal from bank accounts?
Definitely.
Definitely?
Well, hold him to this.
And you give me a guarantee, Mr. Agarwal. One second, one second. Mr. Agarwal, you give me a guarantee that there will be enough cash in all of the banks for us to withdraw whatever we want, because it is within our rights to withdraw as much cash as long as it's ours and it's tax paid.
Definitely. It is the guarantee given by the central bank. It is a guarantee given by the government that if you have a valid deposit in your bank account, you can withdraw, and ultimately you are mixing two things, is that the liquidity has two components, cash component and the banking transaction also creates liquidity. What the government is asking people to move towards liquidity in the banking transaction. E-wallet, you don't need a bank account. Through UPI, do you need a bank account? But it is across
Sandeep,
your mobile phone. You have a penetration of 105 crore bank accounts. We have a.
So what you're saying is, if there's not enough cash, people should start using e-wallets. Sandeep Parekh, why don't you pay your employees with e-wallets? What do you complain?
Tell me today what Mr. Agarwal says, that there's a notification that you can withdraw 24,000 rupees from your savings account and 50,000 from current account. You go to any bank just now, especially cooperative banks, they are not even giving you 10,000 rupees in spite of the government notification. How does it matter? After 1st January, government will give notification.
Sir, you should understand how the system manipulates any of the... You should understand how the system is being manipulated by scrupulous elements. That's why by 30th December, government is restricting withdrawal so that there is no recycling of black.
But they are not even allowing the withdrawal.
Still government is taking action.
Mr. Agarwal, let me point out to you the 24,000 rupees a week that we are allowed to withdraw. None of us can withdraw because no bank has 24,000 rupees to give us. No ATM has that amount of money to dispense. There is no cash in the system. Frankie Menezes is a senior citizen on the phone line from Mumbai. Please listen to him.
That's the short-term problem.
Frankie Menezes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, see, Faye, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead,
sir. See, I'm an ex-serviceman. I'm 68 years old. For almost 15 years, my pension has been credited, but I'm not able to withdraw. Today also I went. See, all this is a big farce. See, I am suffering from vertigo. I cannot stand in the queues. The state bank is jam-packed. You mean to say thousands, lakhs and lakhs of crores of rupees in 2,000 rupee notes are being caught there. You mean to say this can happen without any political backing? I only have to tell you one thing, Faye, that until and unless we have corrupt politicians being elected to our legislators, to all our, and until and unless we get rid of this corrupt politician, nothing will work in this country. No black money, nothing will be eradicated. This is all a big farce that is going on. See, come and see the queues in the banks. See, come early morning, I go for a walk at 6. You see the crowd standing in queue early in the morning.
Senior citizens who cannot access their own money, senior citizens who are made to stand in line. K.E. Raghunathan, who brought on these numbers to begin with, can e-wallets solve the problem? Can't employees be paid with e-wallets? Is that a possible solution, Mr. Raghunathan?
Can I answer?
Okay, go ahead. Mr. Chaturvedi, go ahead.
The unskilled workers, the semi-skilled workers in the industry, they cannot be paid by e-wallet, pay time or anything part of it. They don't know how to write or read, basically. When they don't know how to read and write, what do you expect them to operate the e-wallet or the credit cards or debit cards? One. Number two, if the industry suffers because of demonetization, we are going to retrench people there. Practically today, 30% workers have been retrenched all over the country. Today, our industry is working on about 8 crore workforce all over the country. 30%, you can imagine 2.4 crore workers being retrenched because of demonetization, nothing else. Because of the problem being faced by the developers, sales not happening,
So you want to tell me
uncertainty
that
in the market,
this
uncertainty
segment,
in the market. Let me say,
for this segment, 10 lakh crore will not be sufficient.
10 lakh crore.
Do you want to tell me that the 10 lakh crore which will be in the circulation in cash after 30th December will not be sufficient for this segment of the society?
The execution of it has been poor, I tell you, very simple.
Already 5 lakh crore is in circulation
4
in
lakh
cash.
crore, what we have
It will
put
be
in the
increased to
circulation
about
by
10 lakh
now
crores.
has not reached the people, common people, it has not reached. Understand very clearly, it has not reached the common people. It is only in the city or big people, they have hoarded the money, they have withdrawn the money.
So why it has not reached? Because people are hoarding.
The system.
You should be answering
You
that
should be
question.
answering, not me.
Why are you questioning the others? You should be answering that question.
That is the issue.
It is, understand Agarwalji, that you have to answer why the cash is not reaching to the system
We
at all.
are trying to create an ecosystem of where there is a transparency, there is a more tax compliance, where there is a equal opportunities, where there is a inclusive growth.
Where is the equal opportunity? Crores and crores of people are losing their jobs, Mr. Agarwal. What are you talking about? Okay, let me point this out. Mr. Agarwal, here's another question for you. You said pay your employees through e-wallet. Do you know that the RBI limit for e-wallet is 20,000 rupees per individual, which means that today if Sandeep Parekh uses an e-wallet, he can only put 20,000 rupees in that e-wallet at a time. How many employees will he pay with 20,000 rupees? Mr. Agarwal, how will he use e-wallet to pay salaries? Tell me.
No, you can transfer from your bank account to e-wallet. Individual e-wallet is for the individual person. A company can transfer any amount to the e-wallet.
And if these people can't read or write, then how will they use the system?
They can transfer 20,000 to each 100 employee.
If these people cannot read and write, how will they use
That's
e-wallet?
a different one thing you wanted, ki e-wallet is not sufficient.
No,
that's
what the basic thing.
People are
the biggest thing.
We have to accept the fact one thing.
10 lakh crore of liquidity will not be sufficient to cater to this category.
Accept the fact one thing. Accept the fact one thing, whatever has happened.
This 10 lakh crore, which will come to happened, the vision may be good. After 30th December, will not be sufficient to cater to this segment.
So
Agarwalji, the vision may be good of our Prime Minister, agreed. We are with the Prime Minister. But basically understand, the execution, the implementation, the common people were suffering. And I'll tell you honestly, you will find pay time, e-wallets, credit card, debit card defaulters after 30th December more than what they were happening before 8th of November.
What about the transaction cost? What about the cashless transaction cost?
Go ahead.
Sandeep Parekh, go ahead. Big going in the default of the credit card, debit card also.
What about the cashless transaction costs? Today the transporters who have been given the credit for not being charged for the transaction cost, they have to pay 4 lakhs of rupees of diesel every month. And if 100 rupee, if it is rotated 1 lakh times, you are paying 2.5 lakhs as transaction cost. Who will bear that cost? What about the
Can I answer on this question? It's an important issue that you have raised. This is very important, I tell you. We have, the transaction, if a person physically goes to a bank branch for any transaction, the cost to the banking segment is 80 rupees per transaction for physical visit. The same cost through mobile digital banking or through any online payment or through mobile is reduced to less than a rupee.
So saving for the banking system, Mr. Gopal Krishna, at the cost of many crores of jobs.
To the bank from 80 rupees.
So you're saving cost for the banking system at the price of many crores of jobs of people who make less than 20,000 rupees a month?
No, what I'm telling you is...
Who's saving that money? When you switch people from cash to cashless, who's making the savings?
Transaction,
who's making the savings?
Ultimately, it will be passed to the...
Ultimately, it will be passed. Let me point out to you, Mr. Agarwal, that the banking system can't be bothered to pass on lending rates right now. They are sitting on 1% of lending rate that the RBI gave them as a cut over the last 1 year, which they have not passed on yet. So are we functioning, assuming that the banking system will pass on any benefit that they make from this?
Benefits, I want to make a point here. I went to fill petrol and I used my debit card.
Pass on.
Okay, and 0.75% was the discount that I was going to get.
Just wait.
My petrol supply says हमको पता नहीं क्या है, हमको कुछ पता नहीं है. I said 0.75% कम लेना चाहिए आपने. They say हमको बताया नहीं हम क्या लेंगे कम. And he charged me 1,000 rupees for my petrol.
Yes, there is no discount being made available right now at
He
any
has
petrol
no clue
station.
what is happening. Nobody has been informed. It only comes out in papers that we are doing this, announcements are made.
All right,
But nobody knows anything.
Rituparna Chakrabarti, of the jobs that we're talking about, the unofficial jobs that we're talking about, do you believe that e-wallets and Paytm can solve the problem post the 30th of December? That these jobs will come back?
I'm very sure it will do it.
More than e-wallets, opening bank accounts and the low-frill bank accounts for these people will eventually not only get back some amount, if not immediately, the jobs. It will also ensure higher standard of living, better wages. The so-called difference that currently exists on the discrepancy between nominal wages and real wages will also go away. And I know it's a very difficult time, whatever is happening around us. Casual workers are deeply impacted. But I believe that, yes, if we are able to manage this pain,
manage the pain, Ritu. I want some level of perspective here from this panel. I want some level of perspective here from this panel. We're talking about managing pain on behalf of people who have lost jobs, who cannot feed their children. Someone who makes 15,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees a month and lives in one of our big cities has not been paid this month. It's not about us managing pain. This is not something you can make go away if you take a brufen. This is people's lives we're talking about. I want to go back to Ara Chaturvedi. Why opening bank accounts? This business of opening bank accounts for unskilled labor, why is it such a challenge? Why hasn't it been done up till now? And why haven't you been able to do it in the last 1 month on your construction site, Mr. Chaturvedi?
The semi-skilled and skilled workers, they don't know how to read and write. Second thing, they don't have their KYC report, what banks are required to fulfill in. Once if the bank reports are fulfilled, then only the bank accounts are opened practically for even a common man. Now in past 35 days, the people have been queuing up and the banks have been busy only dealing with the cash part of it, cash transaction. Not a single account was opened in any bank because the people in the bank or the officers in the bank, they are so busy only managing the cash, they don't have any time to open any bank account. That is one simple reason. Second thing, once if you have to open a bank account, all the formalities cannot be complied by any skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled workers also in town. Our construction industry is basically dependent on unskilled workers and semi-skilled workers. You cannot expect a semi-skilled worker, unskilled worker coming from Bihar, UP, going and opening a bank account in Mumbai in any of the bank. We have basically a contractor team who appoints labor contractors and labor part of it. And if they are paid by, we pay by check. But if the labor contractor is not able to withdraw money and pay to the worker, all the laborers from the labor contractor, they leave the site and go away. And ultimately, there is a work shortage. Everything is recycled totally together. One has to take a right perspective, whether the laborers are to be paid in cash or they are to be paid by check or e-wallet system. I think there is no solution. We have to pay laborers by cash only. That's only a solution for labor working in the industry as far as construction industry goes. Because this is dependent on infrastructure, construction. Construction doesn't mean only construction, building construction. It is also the infrastructure.
But you know, Mr. Chaturvedi, the question we have to ask is this a war against black money or is this the war against the unbanked?
I completely disagree with that statement. I completely disagree with that statement that workers have to be paid in cash.
No, Ritu, nobody is saying workers should be paid in cash, but right now, if they're not being paid at all, that is my bigger problem. Nikunj, go ahead.
I thought that was just the statement which is being made.
Is saying, which is
no, I agree with you on
real estate, you know, that is across the board applicable to all the industry, because there you have labor contractors and the labor contractors are being paid in check, and those labor contractors, they pay in cash to the semi-skilled, unskilled laborers, you know, and these laborers are taken on day-to-day basis. This is across the board. Say you take steel rolling mills, you take textile industry, you take diamond industry, ceramic industry, across the board, everywhere. This is the phenomenon, you know. And how do you counter this phenomenon now? Because the laborers are not being paid. These laborers are going back, you know. How do you turn that tide? I do not have that answer even today.
I agree with Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Chaturvedi regarding this opening of bank accounts, which in the last month the banks were reluctant to do that because of the exchange rush. Another issue is that even our workers who have the bank accounts are reluctant to take the checks because they say that to deposit the check when we have to go there and to withdraw our cash after 2 days, we'll have to stand in the queue for 4 hours and I lose my half a day salary from here. Yeah. And even when he wants to withdraw his cash, his salary, he says, I'll be given only 4,000 rupees.
Transfer them to NIFT and RTGS.
Our RTGS, but he has to go and withdraw at least. He has to go and withdraw. The bankers are asking to put minimum 1,500 rupees balance there. Now the workers today, we are living with a saving below the pillow economy. You can't expect them to keep 1,500 rupees
problem of that segment which you are calling, which has to go only on cash transaction, is 10 lakh crore of currency will not be sufficient to tackle to this category of people who are talking.
Mr. Agarwal, you keep giving us the same solutions, but the truth is that people have lost their jobs and you do not have a solution for the people who have lost their jobs.
But you are talking of the same problem again and again.
It's the same problem. The problem has not gone away. I'm going to keep talking about this problem until you make the problem go away. When people who make 10,000 rupees a month do not get paid for a month, they cannot feed their children. There are children in this country going hungry, Mr. Agarwal. There are children in this country going hungry. If people don't get paid for a month, they cannot feed their children. That is a problem that cannot be brushed under the carpet. You cannot tell them to put up with it because it's short-term pain. There are senior citizens who cannot withdraw their pensions. There are children who cannot be treated. There are children who cannot be fed. There are people who are not earning right now. It is a far bigger problem that you're willing to acknowledge. I have to close this debate right now, but I want to point out to our audience, I'm sorry, I've run out of time. I want to point out to our audience that this is a grave, grave situation. When people don't make money, they go hungry. We have people going hungry, sleeping hungry in our country today because they haven't been paid. When unskilled labor doesn't get paid, we see a spike in crime rates in our cities. This is what we're looking at right now. It is a problem that the government is brushing under the carpet and we're not going to let them brush under the carpet. Steps need to be taken and steps need to be taken now. We have to hear from this government on what they are doing to help job creation, to save people from losing their jobs, and we're not hearing enough. We're going to keep bringing it up here on this channel on The Urban Debate. Thanks for watching.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MagicBricksNow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at MagicBricksNow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/MagicBricksNow.